trip to London. Anna, I can't believe we're finally in London. I've been dreaming about this trip for months.
Me too, John. I can't wait to explore the city and learn about its rich history and culture.
Definitely. I've been reading up on London's top attractions, and I think we should start with the Tower of London.
The Tower of London sounds amazing. I've always been fascinated by medieval history, and I've heard that the crown jewels are on display there.
That's right. I've also heard that we can take a boat ride on the River Thames and see famous landmarks such as the London Eye and the Houses of Parliament.
That sounds like a great idea. I've never been on a boat ride before, and I can't wait to see the city from a different perspective.
And we can't forget about the British Museum. They have some of the world's most famous artifacts, including the Rosetta Stone and the Elgin marbles.
I'm excited to see those exhibits, but I'm also looking forward to shopping in Oxford Street and browsing local markets for unique souvenirs.
Me too. And we can't leave London without trying some of the city's famous cuisine, such as fish and chips and Indian curry.
Yes, I've heard that London has a diverse food scene, and I'm curious to try new flavors.
And we can't forget about the tube. It's one of the best ways to get around the city quickly and efficiently.
Definitely. I'm glad we did our research and found a cozy Airbnb in the heart of the city, so we can easily explore all of these amazing attractions.
Me too, Anna. I think this trip is going to be one of the best experiences of our lives.
Speaking of our itinerary, I'm glad we planned our trip in advance and researched London's top attractions.
Yes, it definitely helped us make the most of our time here. I'm looking forward to seeing everything on our list.
Me too. I think it's important to learn about the history and culture of the places we visit, and London has so much to offer.
Absolutely. I feel like we're going to learn a lot on this trip. And it's not just about the famous landmarks and museums, but also the local neighborhoods and hidden gems.
That's a good point. I'm excited to explore the different neighborhoods and see what makes each one unique.
Same here. And I'm also looking forward to trying some of the city's famous pubs and experiencing the nightlife.
Yes, it's important to have a balance of sightseeing and relaxation. I think we'll have plenty of opportunities to do both.
Definitely. And I'm also glad that we have each other to share this experience with.
Me too, John. It's going to be an adventure we'll never forget.
I have to say, I'm really happy with the Airbnb we booked. It's in a great location and it's cozy.
Yes, it's perfect for us. I love how it's in the heart of the city, so we can easily walk to many of the attractions on our list.
And the fact that we have our own kitchen means that we can save money by cooking some of our meals instead of eating out all the time.
That's true. Plus, it's nice to have a home away from home where we can relax and unwind after a busy day of sightseeing.
I completely agree. And it's also nice that we booked our flight in advance, so we didn't have to worry about last-minute price increases.
Yes, I'm glad we did our research and found a good deal on our flights. It gave us more money to spend on experiences and souvenirs.
And speaking of souvenirs, I'm sure we'll find some great ones at the local markets. I want to bring back something unique to remember our trip by.
Me too. And I'm sure we'll have plenty of opportunities to take photos and capture all the amazing memories we'll make on this trip.
Definitely. I think this trip is going to be one for the books.
You know, I'm really glad we packed comfortable clothing, walking shoes, and rain gear for this trip.
Yes, me too. I've heard that the weather in London can be unpredictable, so it's better to be prepared.
And the walking shoes are a must, since we'll be doing a lot of sightseeing on foot.
Absolutely. I don't want to be uncomfortable or get blisters from walking around too much.
And it's good that we brought our passports, travel documents, and local currency. We don't want to have any issues at the airport or when we're trying to pay for things.
That's true. It's always better to be safe than sorry, and it makes the whole travel process smoother.
And speaking of the travel process, I'm glad we gave ourselves enough time to get to the airport and go through security.
Me too. We don't want to be rushing and stressing out before our flight.
And now that we're here in London, I'm excited to start exploring the city and all the amazing things it has to offer.
Wow, today was amazing. I can't believe we got to see the Tower of London and the crown jewels up close.
I know, right? It was so fascinating to learn about the city's medieval history and see all the artifacts.
And the boat ride on the River Thames was breathtaking. We got to see so many famous landmarks like the London Eye and the Houses of Parliament.
Yes, the view from the river was so different from seeing the city on foot. I'm glad we did both.
Me too. And the British Museum was incredible. I could spend days there and still not see everything.
Same here. I was amazed by the ancient artifacts and the world history exhibits. And the local markets we visited afterward were so fun.
Yes, it was great to see a different side of the city and find some unique souvenirs. I think we did a good job balancing the famous landmarks with the local experiences.
I agree. And I'm glad we were able to explore the city on foot. It's a great way to see everything up close and get some exercise at the same time.
Definitely. And I'm excited for tomorrow. We still have so much left on our itinerary, like the British Library, the National Gallery, and Buckingham Palace.
Yes, there's so much to see and do here in London. I think we're going to need a few more days to fully explore everything.
I know, right? But I'm glad we're making the most of our time here and experiencing everything we can.
Tonight was so much fun. I'm glad we got to experience some of the city's nightlife.
Me too, Anna. Trying some of the local beers and traditional pubs was a great way to immerse ourselves in the culture.
And the comedy show in Soho was hilarious. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time.
Same here. It was a nice break from all the sightseeing and learning. And I think it's important to experience the local entertainment scene too.
Definitely. And we also got to try some new foods tonight. I loved the fish and chips and the shepherd's pie.
Yes, the food in London is so good. And I'm glad we're trying different types of cuisine, like Indian and British.
Same here. And I'm excited for tomorrow. We're going to explore some of the parks and gardens, like Hyde Park and Kew Gardens.
That sounds like a great idea. And we can also visit some of the city's famous museums, like the British Library and the National Gallery.
Yes, there's still so much left to see and do. I'm glad we planned our itinerary in advance so we can make the most of our time here.
Me too. And I'm grateful that we're doing this trip together. It's been an amazing experience so far, and I know we'll cherish these memories for years to come.
I couldn't agree more, John. This trip has been the adventure of a lifetime.
I have to say, the fish and chips we had today were amazing. I'm so glad we got to try some of the city's famous cuisine.
Yes, me too. And the Indian curry we had last night was delicious as well. I love how diverse the food scene is in London.
Definitely. And I'm glad we're not just sticking to the typical tourist restaurants. It's nice to try local places and experience the city like a local.
I completely agree. And I'm looking forward to trying some more new foods tomorrow. I heard there's a great street food market near Camden Market.
That sounds like a great idea. And we can also try some of the city's famous desserts, like sticky toffee pudding and Eton mess.
Yes, I've heard those are amazing. And speaking of Camden Market, I'm excited to explore some of the local markets and find some unique souvenirs.
Me too. It's always nice to bring back something special to remember our trip by.
And I'm also looking forward to exploring some of the local neighborhoods. I heard Notting Hill and Shoreditch have a lot of cool street art and independent shops.
Yes, I've heard that too. And I think it's important to see the different sides of the city, not just the tourist attractions.
Definitely. I'm so glad we're making the most of our time here and experiencing everything the city has to offer.
Me too, Anna. This trip has been amazing so far, and I know there's still so much left to see and do.
I'm so glad we decided to rely on the tube to get around the city. It's so efficient and easy to navigate.
Yes, and it's also a great way to get a glimpse of the local life. We get to see how people live and work in the different neighborhoods.
Definitely. And I'm glad we also took a day trip to Windsor. The town is so charming and the castle is breathtaking.
Yes, it was a nice change of pace from the hustle and bustle of the city. And the views from the castle were amazing.
And I loved learning about the history of the castle and the royal family. It was so fascinating.
Definitely. And I'm looking forward to exploring some of the other nearby towns and attractions, like Bath and Stonehenge.
Yes, those are definitely on our list. And I'm also excited to see some of the city's famous parks and gardens, like Hyde Park and Kew Gardens.
Me too. And I'm so glad we planned our itinerary in advance so we can make the most of our time here.
Same here. This trip has been an amazing adventure so far, and I know there's still so much left to see and do.
I couldn't agree more, Anna. I feel so lucky to be experiencing all of this with you and creating memories that we'll cherish for a lifetime.
One of the things that's really stood out to me about this trip is the city's energy and mix of old and new architecture.
Yes, it's amazing how you can walk down a street and see a 1,000-year-old castle next to a modern skyscraper.
And I love how the city is constantly evolving, yet still manages to maintain its history and charm.
Definitely. From the traditional pubs to the contemporary art galleries, there's something for everyone here.
And it's not just the big landmarks that are impressive. Even the residential neighborhoods have their own unique character and charm.
Yes, I've noticed that too. It's really interesting to see how people live in different parts of the city.
And I think it's important to take the time to explore those neighborhoods and see the city from a local's perspective.
Absolutely. And I'm glad we're doing that on this trip. It's not just about seeing the famous attractions, but also experiencing the city's everyday life.
Definitely. And I think that's what makes this trip so special. We're not just tourists, we're getting to know the city on a deeper level.
I couldn't agree more, Anna. This trip has been an amazing adventure, and I know we'll always remember the energy and character of this incredible city.
I have to say, the Tower of London was one of the most impressive things we've seen on this trip.
Yes, it was amazing to see all the medieval architecture and learn about the city's history.
And the crown jewels were absolutely stunning. I couldn't believe how many diamonds and precious gems were in there.
It really puts into perspective how much wealth and power the monarchy had back then. Definitely. And I also loved learning about the different kings and queens who lived in the tower and the different uses it had throughout history.
Yes, it's fascinating to think about all the different ways the tower has been used, from a royal palace to a prison to a zoo. And I'm glad we got to see some of the famous ravens that live in the tower. The legend says that if they ever leave, the tower and the monarchy will fall.
Yes, it's always interesting to hear about the different legends and superstitions that are part of the city's history.
And I'm glad we're having a chance to learn about all of that on this trip. It's not just about the famous landmarks, but also the stories and legends that make them so fascinating.
Definitely. And I think that's what makes London such a special city. It's not just about the present, but also the past and the legacy that's left behind.
I couldn't agree more, John. This trip has been an amazing adventure so far, and I know we'll always remember the history and character of this incredible city.
I have to say, seeing the crown jewels up close was one of the highlights of this trip for me.
Same here, John. It was truly awe-inspiring to see all the diamonds and precious gems in person.
And the history behind each piece was so fascinating. I couldn't believe how old some of them were.
Definitely. And I'm glad we took so many photos to remember the experience. It's not every day you get to see something like that.
Yes, I think those photos will be a great way to look back on this trip and remember all the amazing things we saw and did.
And it's not just the crown jewels. We've taken so many photos at all the different landmarks and attractions we've visited.
That's true. And I think it's important to take the time to capture those memories and have something to look back on.
Definitely. And I'm also glad we're taking the time to enjoy the moment and not just focus on getting the perfect shot.
Yes, it's important to strike a balance between experiencing things in the moment and capturing them for later.
And I think we've done a good job of that on this trip. We've had so many amazing experiences and memories that we'll cherish for a lifetime.
I couldn't agree more, Anna. This trip has been an amazing adventure, and I'm grateful that we've been able to share it together.
The boat ride on the River Thames was so much fun. We got to see so many famous landmarks.
Yes, it was amazing to see the city from a different perspective. And the views of the London Eye and the Houses of Parliament were breathtaking.
Definitely. And I loved learning about the history of the different bridges we passed under.
Yes, it's always interesting to hear about the different stories and legends that are part of the city's history.
And I'm glad we got to see some of the famous landmarks from the water. It's such a unique way to experience the city.
Definitely. And I think it's important to take advantage of all the different ways to see the city, whether it's by foot, by boat, or by tube.
Yes, there's so much to see and do here. And I'm glad we're making the most of our time and experiencing everything we can.
Me too. And I'm excited for what's left on our itinerary, like exploring some of the local neighborhoods and trying new foods.
Same here. And I'm glad we're taking the time to enjoy the moment and make the most of this trip.
The British Museum was incredible. I could spend days there and still not see everything.
Same here. I was amazed by the ancient artifacts and the world history exhibits.
And the way they displayed the artifacts was so impressive. It really felt like we were traveling through time.
Definitely. And I loved learning about the different cultures and civilizations that were represented in the museum.
Yes, it was fascinating to see how different societies developed and interacted with each other throughout history.
And I'm glad we took the time to see some of the lesser-known exhibits too, not just the famous ones like the Rosetta Stone.
Me too. I think it's important to explore the different parts of the museum and appreciate all the amazing artifacts.
And I'm also glad we had the audio guide to help us understand the exhibits. It added so much depth to the experience.
Yes, the audio guide was definitely worth the extra cost. It helped us appreciate the history and significance of each artifact.
And I think it's amazing that the museum is free to enter. It's such a valuable resource for people to learn about history and culture.
Definitely. And I'm grateful that we had the opportunity to visit the museum and learn so much about the world and its history.
Shopping in Oxford Street was so much fun. There were so many stores and options.
Yes, it was overwhelming at times, but we found some great deals and souvenirs.
And I'm glad we also took the time to explore some of the local markets. We found some really unique and special souvenirs there.
Definitely. And it was nice to support local artists and businesses too.
And I loved the atmosphere in the markets. It was so lively and colorful.
Yes, it really felt like we were experiencing the local culture and community.
And I'm looking forward to exploring some of the other markets and neighborhoods too, like Camden Market and Notting Hill.
Same here. And I think it's important to find a balance between the big shopping areas and the local markets. They both offer something unique.
Absolutely. And I'm glad we're taking the time to explore all the different parts of the city and find our own special experiences.
Me too. And I'm excited for what's left on our itinerary, like visiting some of the city's famous parks and gardens.
Yes, there's still so much left to see and do. I'm so grateful for this amazing trip and all the memories we're creating.
Me too, Anna. This has been an incredible adventure, and I know we'll always look back on it with fondness.
One of the things I love about London is the diverse food scene. We've tried so many different types of cuisine on this trip.
Yes, it's amazing how you can find almost any type of food here, from traditional English to Indian to Thai.
And I'm glad we're not just sticking to the typical tourist restaurants. We've been exploring some of the local places and finding hidden gems.
Definitely. And I think it's important to experience the city like a local and try the foods that they enjoy.
And I'm also glad we're not afraid to try new things. We've had some really unique and delicious dishes on this trip.
Yes, like the fish and chips and the shepherd's pie. And I love trying the different Indian curries and street food.
Same here. And I'm looking forward to trying some more new foods tomorrow. I heard there's a great Korean restaurant in Soho.
That sounds like a great idea. And we can also try some of the city's famous desserts, like sticky toffee pudding and Eton mess.
Yes, those are definitely on our list. And I'm glad we're not just focusing on the savory dishes, but also the sweet ones.
Absolutely. And I think it's amazing how the food scene reflects the diversity and culture of the city.
Definitely. And it's one of the things that makes London such a special and unique city.
I couldn't agree more, Anna. This trip has been an amazing adventure, and I'm grateful for all the different foods and flavors we've been able to experience.
I have to say, the tube has been a lifesaver on this trip. It's so easy to navigate and has saved us so much time.
Yes, it's amazing how efficient and reliable it is. And it's also a great way to see the different neighborhoods of the city.
Definitely. And I'm glad we're not just relying on taxis or buses. The tube is much faster and more convenient.
And I'm impressed by how clean and well-maintained the stations and trains are. It really makes a difference in the overall experience.
Same here. And I'm glad we took the time to understand the different lines and routes, so we can get around the city quickly and efficiently.
John, and I think it's also important to have a backup plan in case the tube is ever delayed or closed.
That's true. And it's always good to have a sense of the different transportation options available, like buses or walking.
And I'm glad we've been able to explore some of the different neighborhoods on foot too. It's a great way to see the city up close and personal.
Definitely. And I'm looking forward to exploring some more of the local neighborhoods and seeing what each one has to offer.
Me too. This trip has been an amazing adventure, and I'm grateful for all the different ways we've been able to experience the city.
Windsor Castle was so grand and impressive. I was blown away by its size and beauty.
Yes, and the history behind it is so fascinating. It's amazing to think about all the different events and people who have been a part of it.
And I loved walking through the castle's different rooms and seeing all the artwork and furniture.
Same here. It really gives you a sense of what life was like for the royal family back then.
And I'm glad we also took the time to explore the castle's gardens. They were so beautiful and peaceful.
Definitely. And I think it's important to appreciate the natural beauty and landscapes that are part of the city's history too.
And I loved learning about the different plants and flowers that were in the gardens. It added a whole new dimension to the experience.
Yes, and it's amazing how well maintained and cared for the gardens are. You can tell that a lot of love and attention goes into them.
Definitely. And I'm glad we took the time to really appreciate the gardens and all the beauty they have to offer.
Me too. This trip has been an amazing adventure, and I'm grateful for all the different experiences we've had, from the grandeur of Windsor Castle to the peacefulness of its gardens.
I have to say, I feel so grateful for this opportunity to travel and explore a new culture with you, John.
Same here, Anna. It's been an amazing adventure so far, and I'm grateful for every moment we've shared together.
And I think it's important to appreciate and make the most of every opportunity we have to travel and experience new things.
Absolutely. And I'm glad we're taking the time to really immerse ourselves in the culture and see the city from different perspectives.
Me too. And I think it's also important to take a step back and appreciate how lucky we are to have this chance to travel and explore.
Definitely. And I hope we can continue to have these adventures and experiences together in the future.
Same here. And I'm grateful for all the memories we've created on this trip, from the grand landmarks to the local markets to the delicious foods.
And I'm grateful for the opportunity to share these experiences with you, Anna. This trip has been an amazing adventure, and I know we'll always cherish the memories we've created together.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel. Let's meet in our next video soon.